So in the last session, we were discussing about the molecules and the covalent bond. What is a covalent bond? The bond which is formed between the two or more non-metals by sharing of electron. And in a periodic table, how we work out the non-metal. So when we draw this staircase, elements which are on the right hand side are the non-metals. And one more element is there, the hydrogen, that is also having a properties of a non-metal. So hydrogen is also a non-metal. So hydrogen is also included, that whenever a bond is formed between the two or more non-metals, we call that as a covalent bond, which is formed by sharing of electrons. And we discussed some of the structures. Example, if I say I want to draw the structure of Cl2. So Cl2 means two chlorine atoms are there. So first thing what I have to do, I have to check the chlorine. Each chlorine belongs to group 7. And how you can work out the group number in a periodic table. As you can see the previous slide, the periodic table. So chlorine is in group 7 of a periodic table. So as it is a non-metal and it belongs to group 7. So if it belongs to group 7, how many electrons it will share? And there was a table we discussed that if it is group 4, it will share 4 electrons. If it is group 5 element, it will share 3 electrons. Group 6, it will share 2, and group 7 will share 1 electron. So chlorine belongs to group 7. So as it belongs to group 7, it will only share 1. And we have to draw the structure of Cl2. So how to draw a structure of Cl2? So we'll draw 2 chlorine. First the shared pair between the two atoms, we'll draw the shared one. So this chlorine is sharing 1. The other chlorines should also share 1. So this is a shared electron between them. Now we complete the circle. This is a circle for first chlorine and this is a circle for the second chlorine. So as chlorine belongs to group 7 and it is sharing only 1 electron, so how many are left out of 7? If 1 is shared, we are left with 6 electrons. So 6 electrons for the first chlorine on the left hand side, and 6 electrons for the second chlorine. So we have to draw both shared and unshared electrons, and the shared one will draw between them. So this is a covalent structure of Cl2. Is it clear? As chlorine belongs to group 7, so it will share 1 electron, and in this case, because 2 chlorine, so we have to draw the structure of the chlorine. Each chlorine belongs to group 7. So as it belongs to group 7, it will share 1 electron. So this table is important. You have to keep in mind this table. The group, if it is a group 4 element, a non-metal, it will share 4 electrons. If it is group 5 non-metal, it will share 3 electrons. If it is group 6 non-metal, it will share 2 electrons. And if the element belongs to group 7, it will share only 1 electron. So if we want to draw the structure of a covalent structure of Cl2, Cl2 means 2 chlorine atom. So we have 1 chlorine here and the second chlorine next to this. Then we have to check the group. So when we check the group for chlorine, chlorine belongs to group 7. So if element belongs to group 7, it will share only one electron. So the shared electron, because it is sharing one electron, so the shared electron will drop between the two chlorine. So one electron, the shared one from chlorine on the left hand side, and the second shared electron from the chlorine on the right hand side. So this is a shared electron. Each chlorine is sharing one electron. Then we draw the circle for each chlorine atom. So this is a circle for each chlorine atom. Now we draw the unshared electron, because out of 7, as we know there are 7 electrons, group 7 means there are 7 electrons. And out of 7, if it is sharing one, unshared will be 6. So the 6 unshared electron we will draw as a pair. So this is the covalent structure of chlorine molecule, or Cl2. Is it clear, the covalent structure? This is just a repetition, a quick revision of what we have discussed last week, because in the last session we were discussing the covalent bonding. So I'm giving some new examples as well. I'll give, and this is an old example which I explained in the last session as well. So we should be able to draw the structure of what? We should be able to draw the structure of HCl2 is already done. So we should be able to draw the structure of H2. H2 means hydrogen. So hydrogen, keep in mind the hydrogen, it is a non-metal and it will always share one electron. It is having one electron, and that electron it will share. So if you want to draw the structure of hydrogen, which is H2, a hydrogen molecule. So first what we do, we draw the two hydrogen atoms. This is what we draw. Then between the two atoms we draw the shared one. So because each hydrogen will share one electron, so one hydrogen we are representing electron by a cross, and the second hydrogen we are representing the electron by a circle or a dot. So these are the electrons from each hydrogen. Then we draw the circle. So this is the structure of hydrogen molecule, or we also say H2. Hydrogen does not have any free electron. Why it does not have any free electron? Because it is having only one electron, and that electron is used in the sharing. Is it clear, the structure of hydrogen H2? Hydrogen is a non-metal. When you check the structure of the hydrogen, hydrogen is having only one electron. So how a covalent bond is formed? A covalent bond is formed by a sharing of electron. So what happened? Each hydrogen share one electron, like this electron belongs to the hydrogen on the left hand side, and the second electron belongs to a hydrogen on the right hand side. So both hydrogens share one electron with each other, and as a result what they form, they will form a covalent bond. So a covalent bond is formed between the non-metals by sharing of electron. So we do the structure of hydrogen, chlorine, now H2O. So how to draw the structure of H2O or water? So for H2O, hydrogen, it will share 1 electron. For oxygen, it belongs to group 6. So if it belongs to group 6, how many electron it will share? Oxygen belongs to group 6. So when element belongs to group 6, it will share 2 electrons. So it will share total 2 electrons. Now H2O, so which one should be at the center? The element which is sharing the maximum number should be in the center. So the element which is sharing the maximum number should be there at the center. Which is sharing the maximum number? Hydrogen is sharing 1, oxygen is sharing 2. So which element should be there in the center? The element which share the maximum number. Maximum number means highest number. Oxygen is sharing 2. Hydrogen is only sharing 1. So which is maximum or which is the highest number? Oxygen. Because 2 is bigger than 1. So this is maximum and this one is minimum. So first we draw the structure of water. Oxygen will be there at the center and surrounded by 2 hydrogen. Is it clear till now, the first part? Then we start the sharing. Then the sharing will start with the least number. So the sharing will start from the surrounding atoms. So in this case, which atom is the surrounding atom? Hydrogen is surrounding the oxygen. So hydrogen is the surrounding atom, the atom which is surrounding the oxygen. So we'll start sharing from hydrogen. Now, as we know, each hydrogen share 1. So if this hydrogen share 1, so oxygen total it will share 2. But from this side, because if hydrogen is bringing 1 electron, so oxygen will also bring 1 electron from that side. Total oxygen will share 2, but from that side, because if hydrogen is bringing 1 electron to form a bond, the oxygen will also bring 1 electron to form a bond. Same way, the other hydrogen is bringing 1 electron. So how many electron oxygen will bring from that side? So oxygen will also bring 1 electron from that side. So as you can see, hydrogen share 1 electron. This is the electron of hydrogen. So oxygen share 1 from that side, left side. And hydrogen from the right hand side share 1. Oxygen is also sharing 1 electron from the right hand side. So the total number of electron each hydrogen will share 1, that is done. And total number of electron each oxygen will share, that's 2, because this is 1 and the second one. Now we have to complete a diagram. How we complete a diagram? So we draw a circle for each atom. So there is a circle for hydrogen, then for oxygen, and then for another hydrogen. Hydrogen is having only 1 electron and it shared that electron. But what about oxygen? Oxygen belongs to group 6. So oxygen total is having 6 electron. Out of 6, it shared 2. So how many are unshared? How many electrons are left unshared? So there are 4 electrons unshared. That's why we'll draw the unshared electron not between the 2 atoms on the circle. So this is a structure of water molecule, which we also say H2O. So we can say hydrogen single bonded with oxygen and oxygen single bonded with another hydrogen. Is it clear? Yeah, that's right. There are total 6 electrons and 2 are used in the sharing. So that's why there are 4 unshared left on the oxygen. Is it clear, this structure of water molecule H2O? Another structure which you should be able to draw is CH4. So how we'll draw a structure of CH4? So we have to draw a structure of CH4 in which we have carbon. That carbon belongs to group 4. If carbon belongs to group 4, how many it will share? Element belongs to group 4. So it will share 4 electrons. And hydrogen is there. It is having only 1 electron. So always remember hydrogen will share 1. Now the element which is sharing the maximum number should be in the center. So which element should be in the center? Carbon or hydrogen? So carbon should be at the center. So we have carbon and 4 hydrogen. So hydrogen will surround them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll start the sharing. We'll start the sharing with a neighboring, the surrounding atom. So we'll start with hydrogen. So if this hydrogen can share only 1. So if hydrogen share 1, carbon can share only 1 from that side. Hydrogen shares 1, carbon can share 1 only from that side. Hydrogen shares 1, carbon will share 1 from that side. And hydrogen, another hydrogen share 1, so carbon will share 1 from that side. So total number of the sharing of electron by carbon, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So carbon completed the 4. And total number of electrons shared by each hydrogen, that's 1. So this hydrogen is sharing 1, the other all are sharing 1. And for carbon, because carbon belongs to group 4, so it is having 4 electrons and it is sharing all 4 of them. So there is no unshared electron on the carbon. Now we draw the circle for each. So this is circle for hydrogen, 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 and then the circle for carbon as well. So this is a structure of carbon bonded with 4 hydrogen, and this compound is having a specific name. What we call this compound? We call this as methane. This is a name, later you will learn why it is called methane, but this is having a name, CH4, also known as methane. And the symbolic representation, in case of carbon, because carbon belongs to group 4, so it is having 4 electrons and it is sharing all 4 of them, so unshared will be 0. So there is no unshared electron on carbon. So when we represent, each pair is represented by a single line. So carbon is bonded with hydrogen, and this is a structure of methane or CH4. Yeah, that's right. It's a methane and it is a hydrocarbon. Why we call hydrocarbon? Because it contains carbon and hydrogen only. Those compounds which have carbon and hydrogen, they are classified as hydrocarbon. Is it clear, the structure of methane? Then you should be able to draw the structure of NH3. So how we draw the structure of NH3? We'll check the nitrogen. It belongs to group 5. As nitrogen belongs to group 5, how many electron it should share? Element belongs to group 5. How many electrons it should share? Yeah, that's right. It should share 3 electrons. Hydrogen belongs, like no specific group mentioned for hydrogen, but we remember that it is a non-metal. It's having only 1 electron and it is have share only that electron. So which element should be there in the center, nitrogen or hydrogen? So nitrogen should be in the center. So I have 1 nitrogen and I will draw 3 hydrogen. It can be like 2 on the sideways and 1 at the top or bottom. That does not make difference. You can place it even like this. So that does not make difference. The idea is that nitrogen should be in the center and surrounded by 3 hydrogen. So when we start sharing, we'll start sharing with hydrogen, the neighboring one. So if this hydrogen share 1, nitrogen will share 1. Same way, if this hydrogen shares 1, nitrogen will share 1. And this hydrogen shares 1, nitrogen will share 1. So first, now we draw the circle for each. So hydrogen circle, and then the nitrogen circle. Use a compass in exam to draw these circles. As we know, nitrogen belongs to group 5, so it means it is having 5 electrons. And out of 5, it is sharing 3 electrons. So how many are left? Out of 5, it used 3. So we are left with only 2 electrons. So those 2 electrons will be there on the nitrogen. Is it clear? The structure of nitrogen, NH, structure of ammonia. This is NH3 is known as ammonia. It's a name of the compound. And it is having a covalent structure of NH3. Nitrogen is having atomic number 7, but when we check the number of electron in the last shell. Look, there are 5 electrons in the last shell of nitrogen. Nitrogen atomic number is 7, atomic mass is 14. So it is having 7 electrons. But how these 7 electrons are arranged? The first shell, it is having 2 electrons. And the second shell, it is having 5 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how it form a bond with hydrogen? Each hydrogen share 1 electron. So this is how the complete structure of NH3. But in exam, they don't ask to draw the full structure. They only ask for valence shell. That is why if you see, I was not drawing the inner shell. I was only drawing the external shell. Because in exam, they don't ask to draw the full structure. They ask to show bonding in the last shell. Is it clear? So when we compare the two types of compounds, as we discussed, the ionic and the covalent, so the comparison between them, the ionic bonding, how it is formed, it results from an attraction between the positive and negative ion. So basically what happened, when you have a metal and you have a non-metal, so the electron jumps from metal to non-metal. So when this electron jumps from metal to non-metal, the metal will get a positive charge and a non-metal will get a negative charge, and the attraction between the positive and negative charge or negative and positive ion, what we call this bond, we call that as ionic. But what happened in a covalent bond? A covalent bond formed by sharing of electron between the non-metals. For example, you have one non-metal and you have another non-metal. It's not nitrogen, N means non-metal. So when two non-metals share the electron with each other, electron is not transferred from one atom to another. There's an attraction between the two atoms to their electron. What we call this type of bonding, in there's a sharing of electron, so we call this type of bonding as a covalent bonding. And it is easy to identify what kind of bonding will be there, ionic or covalent. If it is a metal and non-metal, then it will be ionic. If it is only non-metals together, then it will be covalent. And you have to learn the properties of ionic and covalent compounds. What are the properties? They does form an ion, so it will conduct electricity in a liquid or aqueous state. And for covalent compound, they does not form the ion, so they do not or does not conduct electricity. So example, if we have two compounds, potassium chloride KCl and we have hydrogen chloride HCl, or carbon tetrachloride CCl4. How you will identify whether the which compound is ionic? One of the compound is ionic, another one is covalent. Potassium is a metal, belongs to group 1. Chlorine is a non-metal, belongs to group 7. Here carbon is a non-metal, belongs to group 4. And chlorine is a non-metal, belongs to group 7. Can you identify potassium chloride? Is it ionic or covalent? So KCl is ionic bonding. So it will be ionic bonding and it will be an ionic compound. Here the two non-metals are there. When two or more non-metals are there, they will have covalent bonding. And it will be a covalent compound. Now example, if we have solid potassium chloride, so in a solid potassium chloride, it's a regular arrangement of the ions. The positive ions are there. and the negative ions. So example, we have positive and negative ions together, because in an ionic compound, how these ionic compound exists, it exists as a lattice. This arrangement of the ions, regular arrangement of the ion, we call that as a lattice. So when we have solid potassium chloride, all the ionic compounds have lattice. So if we have solid potassium chloride, if we try to pass the current, it will not conduct electricity. And why it will not conduct electricity? Because ions are not free in the lattice to move. There are ions, but these ions are not free to move. They cannot move from one place to other side. That's why in a solid form or a solid state, it does not conduct electricity. But if I melt, this is ionic bonding. Whenever a bond is there between a positive and negative ions, we call that as ionic bonding. So in a potassium chloride, we have positive and negative ions. They are joined together, and when they are joined together in a regular pattern, we call that as a lattice of an ionic compound. Now what happened if we supply the heat energy or melt this, or we add water? So the moment we add a water to this, it will dissolve. A blue shade is representing the water. So when the water dissolves this substance, now these ions are free to move. The positive and the negative ions, which were not able to move in the lattice, but now in a liquid state, these ions can move. So when we try to pass the current or electricity, it can conduct electricity. So in a liquid state or aqueous solution, ionic compounds can conduct electricity because ions are free to move. Is it clear? The idea that in a solid state the ionic compound cannot conduct electricity, but in a liquid state or in a melted form they can conduct electricity. But what about the covalent compound? The covalent compound does not have ions. Like chlorine is bonded with carbon, there is a sharing of electron, there are no ions. So if there are no ions, we have carbon and chlorine bonded with each other with no ions. That's why the covalent compound cannot conduct electricity. Because for conduction, there should be ions and the ions should be free to move. All the ionic compounds are lattice, so they will have so many positive and negative ions. So whenever a question is there, why ionic compound cannot conduct electricity in a solid state, so your answer should be because ions are not free to move in a solid state. Why they can conduct electricity in a molten or aqueous state? Because ions are free to move in an aqueous or molten state. And for covalent, because there are no ions, so when we don't have ions, there are no charges. If no charges are there, so it cannot conduct electricity. So the simple, what you have to learn for ionic compounds, in solid state cannot conduct, but in a molten means melted form, or in aqueous when they are dissolved, they can conduct. But for covalent compound, even they are solid, liquid or gas, cannot conduct electricity because it does not have free ions. So that is the important thing which you should know about the ionic compound, the comparison between the ionic compound and the covalent compounds. And ionic compounds, there's a lattice. Lattice means there are a lot of positive and negative ions, whereas for covalent compounds, you have simple molecules. That's why it is not able to conduct electricity at all. So the properties does form an ion and it can conduct electricity in a liquid and aqueous state. But for covalent, it does not form an ion. That's why it cannot conduct electricity. Ionic compound have a lattice. Lattice structure means, which I just drew, the regular arrangement of the positive and negative ion. We call that as a lattice. And they have high melting point, whereas covalent, it is formed by a sharing of electron and they have low melting and boiling point. Covalent cannot conduct. Ionic can conduct in molten and aqueous, but not in solid state. Atoms are there, Abdullah, but they don't have ions. For conduction, there should be ions. Is it clear? The table, the comparison between. So it is very important that you should learn the properties and the bonding of ionic and covalent. Any question? So I'll end the session and share another link to continue this comparison between ionic and covalent compounds.